Yamuna Tiro Banachari Yamuna Tiro Radha Krishna Ko Gopnath Sam Kund Radha Kund Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadip Dham ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Guru Dwarka Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the all glories to the Thank you very much.
Thinking of going on vacation, but you are short on cash. Well, with Bacalao based on small,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah, this is okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamanam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupa Sagrajata Sagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Kavichandra Swaminiti Namini Namaste Prabhupadartari Nama Pracharini Granta Vitarana Piti Vishishagaine Sada Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastatya Deshatarini Namo Mahavadaya Krishna Prama Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Goratushe Namaha Namo Mahavadaya Krishna Prama Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Goratushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopishta Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanasute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakapatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Narachaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraet Nashta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistike Hare Krishna. So we are welcome to today's lecture. We are coming to the end of this chapter. It's a very interesting one. So I'm going to read from today's verse. Today we are reading from Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, Text 38. Eyanasa Vishwara Vigrasya Yansa Vesha Katito Mayate Sandaryate Smi Vapushi Staviste Mana Swabudya Nayato Stikinchi Eyanasa Vishwara Vigrasya Yasa Nivesha Katito Mayate Sandaryate Smi Vapushi Savishte Mana Swabudya Nayato Stikinchi Eyanasa Vishwara Vigrasya Yasa Nivesha Katito Mayate Sandaryate Smi Vapushi Stavishte Mana Swabudya Nayato Stikinchi. Word to word translation. In all this, I saw that Ishvara, Supreme Lord, Vigracia of the form, yeah, whatsoever, Savestat as they are located. Katita explain, Maya by me, te unto you. Sadariate, one may concentrate as me in this. Vapushi, form of Virat. Stavishte in the gross. Manaha, mind. Swabudya, by one's intelligence. Na, not. Yataha, beyond him. Asti, there is. Kinchit, anything has. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abai Chanana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. I have thus explained to you the gross material gigantic conception of the personality of Godhead. One who seriously desires liberation concentrates his mind on this form of the Lord, because there's nothing more than this in the material world. I repeat, I have thus explained to you the gross materialistic gigantic conception of the personality of Godhead. One who seriously desires liberation concentrates his mind on this form of the Lord, because there is nothing more than this in the material world. Purport. Srila Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 10, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has verily an agent of the agitation of matter begins, and the resultant action are manifested one after another by 6 kinds of gradual differentiation. All material creation is moving in that way, and it appears and disappears in due form of knowledge, thought of this inconceivable, by which he appears just like a human being. Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, verse 11. His appearance in the material world as one of us is also his costless mercy upon the fallen souls. He is transcendental to all material conception, but by his unbounded mercy upon his pure devotees, he comes down and manifests himself as personality of Godhead. Materialistic philosophers and scientists are too much engrossed with atomic energy and the gigantic situation of the universal form, and they offer respect more seriously to the extent phenomenal feature of such materialistic also conceive that the Lord can be simultaneously localized and all-pervasive, because the materialistic philosophers and scientists think of everything in terms of their own personal experience. Because they are unable to accept the personal picture of the Supreme Lord, the Lord is kind enough to demonstrate the Virat feature of his transcendental form. And herein, Srila Shukadev Goswami has vividly described this form of the Lord. He concludes that there is nothing beyond this gigantic picture of the Lord. None of the materialistic, thoughtful men can go beyond this conception of the gigantic form. The mind of the materialistic men are flickering, are constantly changing from one aspect to another. Therefore, one is advised to think of the Lord by thinking of any part of the gigantic body. And by one's intelligence, only one can think of him in any manifestation of material world. The forest, the hill, the ocean, the man, the animal, and the demigod, the bird, the beast, or anything else. Each and every atom of the material manifestation entails a part of the body of the gigantic form. And thus, the flickering mind can be fixed in the Lord only and nothing else. Part of the Lord we gradually diminish, bring about gradual, everything being a part and parcel of the complete whole. The neophytes will gradually realize the aims of Ishopanishad, which state that the Supreme Lord is everywhere, and thus he will learn the heart of not committing an offense, any offense to the body of the Lord. This sense of God-mindedness will diminish one's pride in challenging the existence of God. Thus, one can learn to show respect to everything, for all things are part and parcels of the Supreme Body. Hare Krishna. So this is a very interesting, very interesting point. And this verse is very interesting. So I'm very sorry that this week I have not been regular in this class, in this platform, because that was because we were participating in other program. This program establishes Srimad Bhagavatam as the highest interesting. So focus on this part and also try to take some knowledge of whatever we are hearing from that also and use it to explain this verse we're speaking today. So Shukadev Goswami here is concluding whatever he has been discussing or describing, the universal form of the Lord he has been describing to Parishimara, now is concluding here. I have just explained to you the gross materialistic gigantic conception of this personality of Godhead. One who seriously desires liberation concentrates his mind on this form of the Lord, because there is nothing more than this in the material world. There is nothing more than this in the material world. So, Papa, immediately in the purport, Papa quotes this very wonderful verse 9-10. Maya Vyasena Prakitis. This material nature, which is one of my energy, is working under my direction. Also, not producing moving and non-moving being. Under the rules, material nature is created and annihilated again and again. So Papa started this purpose by quoting this very wonderful verse. Maya Vyasena Prakriti. So this material universe, the material world, the gigantic form, all this description by Shukadev Goswami is under the supreme control of the Lord. They are all the cosmic configuration or part of the Lord. And there's nothing beyond this, like Prabhupada mentioned in the purport. So, but for the materialistic people, they cannot understand. It's very difficult for them to understand the divine form of the Lord, which is Shamashundra. Like Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, as present before you in the two form, two hands. Very, very difficult. Abajanati Mamuda. Manusita no Ashita. Parambaba Janatu Mama Buta Maeshwara. They cannot understand. Because why? Abajanati. They are Buddha. Fools. They believe in Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha. Present in front of the eyes. So when we're in the discussion of that establishing Srimad Bhagavatam as the highest scripture, Prabhu was explaining the pramanas, the different pramanas. Pramana means is the instrument of getting knowledge. There are 10 of them, but We have mainly three.
Kavikarnapura Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Excuse, can you check your microphone? Your video is not on either.
Okay, my video is not on.
No, your video is not on and your audio is very blurry.
Wow. Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is network. His network is
Can
very.
you hear me now, Prabhu?
Yeah,
It's okay now?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
So I was saying that Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Abhajanati Mamuda. Manusim Tanu Ashritaha. Param Baba Janato Mama Buta Maheswaram. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. So the foolish people, they cannot understand this transcendental form of Krishna. Because why? They only believe in what their eyes can see, what their senses can perceive. That is only what they believe in. And I was saying that there's what we call pramanas. The instrument of getting knowledge, valid knowledge. And there are 10 of them as explained by Srila Jiva Goswami, but there are 3 prominent one of them. That is, we have Pratyaksha, we have Anumana, and Shabda. So this Pratyaksha, the materialistic, like Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, it is very, very difficult to conceive that the Lord can be simultaneously localized and all pervasive, because the materialistic philosopher and scientists think everything in terms of their own experience. Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, he said it is very difficult for them to conceive that the Lord can be localized simultaneously and at the same time be all pervasive. Because why? They believe in what they can experience, their own experience, pratyaksha, what they can experience, what they can understand through their senses and their mind. And you see how merciful the Lord is. And that is why Shukadev Goswami started the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, you people, you believe only in pratyaksha, in what you can see. Here is the Supreme Lord in his material creation. He's in gigantic material creation. The bees are his birds. The higher planet are his upper part of his body. The lower planet is the lower part of his body. Can you see that? Can you feel that? Can you experience that? That is him. And it is mentioned that by these materialistic people meditating on this form of the Lord, they can become liberated. How the Lord so merciful that is creating so many avenues for us to purify us in this material world. So merciful. Because it is very, very difficult for material mind to be able to conceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is why Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam. Evam yo veti tatwata. Tyaktwa punanja manayati mameti suajuna. Yes, I know. Because you see this impersonalists, or the materialistic people. For the impersonalists, they believe in more of using logic. Yeah. So, because we have the 5 aspects of logic, because their own, sorry, just 1 minute. Their own proposition or pratigyan of logic is about the formless. The Lord is formless. He has no form. So based on that, they give reasons. Because anything material anything with forms is limited. Anything with form is limited. So therefore, the supreme personality of God must not have form. It doesn't have form. But they have forgotten that the Supreme Lord, Sobombolom, is not material, it's spiritual. And that is why they are making their mistake when they are using their logic. And that is why the Vaishnavas, our path is completely different. And that is why Krishna is particularly saying that part of the Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Chame Divyam. My birth, my karma activity, Divyam is transcendental. Evam yo veti tatu aktaha. Very, very important. Evam yo veti. Veti knows. He who knows, tatu aktaha. In truth, tatwa is very deep. So one who understands this about me in deep, how, even though accepting material form, Shamashunda, beautiful form, with 2 hands, dancing with the gopis, lifting Govardhan Hill, one who understands these transcendental activities of mine, how I appear in the cell of Kamsa. How can you understand? It's very difficult. So that is what Krishna is saying. One who can understand all these different aspects of me, looking contradictory. Upon leaving this world, it will not come back to this material world again. And see how merciful the Lord, even though the Lord has given his devotee such hope and conviction about how transcendental his activities, pastime are, still, he never neglect the materialistic ones. And that is why, even in the Bhagavad Gita, he took his time to explain his universal form. Not only explaining, he revealed it to Arjuna to show how he's practically controlling everything based on how even Shukadev Goswami have explained in this particular chapter. That is how merciful the Lord is, always thinking of how to liberate the living entity. One day there was one Prabhupada disciple. He was inside Srila Prabhupada's room. And this devotee, because that was the first time of coming close to Srila Prabhupada. You know what it means when you come to a great personality the first time. You know, you will be very, somehow, very respectful at the same time, feeling shy, unstable, you know, you don't know what to do at a particular time, you know. So he was very, very uncomfortable, although very happy to be with Prabhupada, but still he was not knowing what to do and what to do, you know. It was just, you know, feeling awe and reverence. So he was surprised that Prabhupada was pointing on the table. And he said, that is our duty, to beg these hands to take to Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada was pointing to hands on the table. And Prabhupada was showing him with folded hand that please take this Mahaprasadam and get liberated. Prabhupada was putting prasadam on the table for the hand to eat. And Prabhupada was begging, please, even in the body of ants. Oh my God. This body was experiencing how he felt. Just to see the compassion. You think it's easy? Prabhupada left Vrindavan, where the sadhus sit to completely absorb themselves in the pastime of the Lord. Traveling, facing all the different troubles of traveling, crossing the ocean, to come and give us Krishna consciousness, just to see how compassionate he is. He doesn't care about himself. If we read that his song, when he sang Makine Bhagavatam, very wonderful song, we can see how Prabhupada moved as he was going to the West. He has strong faith in Krishna that make me dance to deliver these Milecha Yavanas who have no faith in you. We have no faith in God. Many of us, we pretend a lot as if we have faith in God, but we don't really have faith in God. And our activity tells a lot about that. We don't have faith in God. Many of us, we're only afraid of God so that we'll not get punished. But say you have faith and you have love, out of love, you follow the orders, the instruction, regulation, try to please God. We are far from that. The Prabhupada came and he was showing this devotee, not only that he was even eager to deliver the living entity, but even an ant. That shows how compassionate the pure devotees are. And the same thing also is exhibited in Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukadev Goswami, why is he wasting time to describe this gigantic form of the Lord? He's doing this because in the beginning of this chapter, he started by telling how the materialistic people have no chance of realizing God because they are so absorbed in their material sense enjoyment. But in order to deliver them, he has to describe the universal form of the Lord, because by concentrating on this different aspect of the universal form of the Lord, they can become purified. And that is why we devotees also, we have to be very, very proactive in our preaching. As we were listening to the Prabhu was giving, Kanai Krishna Prabhu was giving that lecture. So he was mentioning in the commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam of our acharyas that in the Sridhar Swami commentary, there are in the beginning verse the beginning verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Janmadi Asya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. When Sridhar Swami was giving the commentary on this aspect of Srimad Bhagavatam, there are some aspects of impersonalism there. So everybody like, what? What are you saying? How can Sridhar Swami, that was highly, revered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, even when Prabodhananda Saraswati, name of that devotee, who was trying to criticize Sridhar Swami commentary, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he sent him away. He doesn't want to see him. He sent me away. Who are you to find fault in Acharya's commentary? But here, it is mentioned that Sridhar Swami even left some tinge of impersonalism comment in the beginning verse. Why? It is explained, Shilajiva Goswami explained that the reason was Bandisha Amisha Yaya. There is a logic that is called Bandisha Amisha Nyaya. What does that mean? It means the logic of the hook and bait. Logic of hook and bait. When you want to get the fish from the water, you put a bait in the mouth of the hook so that you can get the fish. So Sridhar Swami was doing the same thing, because during the time of Sridhar Swami, there are more of Mayavadis, impersonalists. So for him to attract them to the lotus feet of Krishna, in his commentary, he added little of impersonalism. So when they were reading that first verse, this he's talking, yes, he's talking like us. Yes, very good. Now they want to dive deep into Srimad Bhagavatam. And by diving deep into Srimad Bhagavatam, they will become captured and become purified. So it was mentioned that this is the reason why Sridhar Swami did that. You can see how proactive our acharyas are in the way they try to preach Krishna consciousness because of the compassionate nature for the living entity. Now we are in the society where technology have taken over. We also, as a devotee, we have to be thinking and be cracking our brain. How can we evolve in our preaching? How can we attract all this living entity to come to Krishna consciousness? We have to be thinking. How can we get people to come to taste this Krishna consciousness? How can we somehow or the other give them Krishna? That should be our thinking. Because only when we are able to give these living entities Krishna consciousness, then what is the use of our living? So we can see in the preaching of our child, even we can see also it is mentioned how so many commentaries is given on Srimad Bhagavatam. Why? Why they have to write so many commentaries? Even though Chaitanya Prabhu has said that this Srimad Bhagavatam is commentary of the Vedas itself. So why do so many devotees have written commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam? It's for us to be able to understand, and that is why great devotees like Srila Jiva Goswami or the six Goswami, they didn't write commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, but they wrote in a way that we can be able to understand the Srimad Bhagavatam deep. That is why we have the Sandarbhas of Jiva Goswami. Why? Why they are doing all these things? So that we can be able to dive deep into this pastime of the Lord and understand the supreme personality of Godhead. Understand the activity, the pastime. Because Krishna mentioned Bhagavad. Why is he saying this? Because it is easy for us to compare Krishna's activities to materialistic activities. We see how the materialists, the sense enjoyer, they criticize Krishna's activities. So it's easy to do this. So that is why you see all these great personalities, very intelligent personalities. People like Jiva Goswami, Baladi Vidyabhushan, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, our own founder and child, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. You see how they write. They wrote in a way to make us to understand that, see, we are not in this material world to waste our time on frivolous things, on things that doesn't matter. Because Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. That is the only way we are taking our time to write. And they show us by their lives and their dedication to Krishna. So, what is the sign that one has become purified? Compassion for other living entity. And that is why we are hearing how Srila Goswami describing this universal form of the Lord. For what? To purify the mind of the materialistic people. So that somehow or the other, because they believe in what they can see, what they can experience, like Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, it is very difficult to conceive that the Lord can be simultaneously localized and be pervasive. It's very difficult for them. How can the Supreme Lord can be in one place at the same time he has spread himself everywhere? No, it's not possible. They cannot conceive, just like our Christian brothers and sisters, they cannot conceive how God can be spiritual at the same time has a form. So everybody have different level of consciousness, of understanding. So we cannot blame these people who cannot understand how the Lord can be localized at the same time, be all pervasive. We cannot blame them, because some other people also, they cannot understand how the Lord can be spiritual and has form. They believe that everything that is spiritual is formless. It doesn't have form. So different level of understanding. And because of that, Shukadev Goswami is taking his time. We will see. The next chapter is going to be about the super soul. Then he talked about pure devotional service. So gradually, you see, the pure devotee, when they are trying to give us Krishna consciousness or explain Krishna consciousness to us, they are not neglecting any living entity. They are not neglecting anyone. And we can borrow the same idea from them, so that we can be able to preach properly in this material world. We should preach in a way that we are very dynamic to attract everyone. No matter whatever level of consciousness they have, we can be able to attract them to Krishna. That is the essence of all these things. We should not be just so strict. Okay, this is the only way we want to preach. Oh, don't let this, only no. What about the other people who cannot come to that level? So we have to adjust our preaching in a way that we can be able to attract everyone to Krishna. And this is the purport of this verse. And towards the end of the purport, we can see what Prabhupada say. Prabhupada is saying that, let me just quickly read. Everything being a part and parcel of the complete whole, the neophyte student will gradually realize the aims of Ishopanisa, which state that the supreme law is everywhere, and thus he will learn the art of not committing any offense to the body of the Lord. This sense of God-mindedness will diminish one's pride in challenging the existence of God. Thus, one can learn to show respect to everything, for all things are part and parcel of the supreme body of the Lord. You see, taking them from the first step so that they can understand that everything is part and parcel of the Lord, and they don't disrespect anything in the creation of God. And by showing that respect, we bring them to the next level of realization of God. So that is the process. That is our process, and this is what I want to share today with all of us. That our preaching is a very dynamic preaching, learning from what our acharyas have done. So we have to do the same. We have to be very dynamic in preaching and think and crack our brain on how to bring the living entity to Krishna consciousness. That is the mission of Srila Prabhupada. That is why Prabhupada started the ISKCON movement, to bring people to Krishna consciousness. Now that most of us have been saved, we become so, we don't strategize again. We are not strategizing on how to bring others to Krishna. We just say, oh, this Krishna consciousness is very difficult. Others will not understand. Who told you that? If you can understand, there's so many people who can even understand more faster than you. Because we are all part and parcel of Krishna. So we think that, okay, sometimes when we discuss with devotees, you see the way they speak, as if, this Krishna consciousness is very difficult, others cannot understand. Why can't we think in a way on how to make it easy for them to understand and bring them to Krishna? That is our duty. Let us think in a way that we can make it easy for them to understand, so that we can bring them to Krishna. That is our duty. And that is why the way the scripture also has been presented to us. So I will stop here today. I don't know if there's some question and answer, and we'll take till 5. If there's no question and answer, we will stop. So if there's any question and answer, we will take and speak till 5 o'clock, then I will stop there. Hare Krishna. Any question, any comment or contribution?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Babu.
Yeah, thank you very much for your class. Always ecstatic, your presentations. You've raised so many points. Before I start asking the question, if anyone, Srimad Prabhu, you want to say something? You're unmuted. And you have a question?
Yeah, Krishna, maybe you should go first, let's.
No, you can go.
You should go first. Okay, don't, my obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees. Thank you very much, Kavikarnapura Prabhu, for your wonderful lecture. Is my voice clear?
Yes, Babu. Yes, Babu. Sorry, Babu.
All right. Well, you see, we tend to be scholarly and intellectual with our scriptural presentation. But religious experience for most people is solution to their material problems. And even though we may want to criticize that, but still, we have to understand that the goal of knowledge, even the basic knowledge going to primary school or secondary school, is to be able to be able to take care of yourself and solve certain life problems, with that basic education. So as long as education or spiritual education, whatever it is, it's not geared towards helping to bring about solution in man's life, it tends to become just like academic, not only scholar. So even the scientists, we can see that besides all their, speculation and very good knowledge, but then they're also bringing solutions with so many technology, which is making the world to accept them as authority. So, and in this part of the world, in Africa, where we find that people have finally concluded that spiritual life has to be able to solve certain problems. You have to be able to deliver people from certain pangs of material existence, and it has to be visible before they can accept you as authority. So any Brahmanical knowledge or any spiritual knowledge that is not actually helping people to be able to, get rid of their material problems in one way or the other. Because without getting rid of some of these problems, they cannot have peace of mind to even meditate on Krishna's pastimes. And even if we think that we've come that close, we are meditating on Krishna's pastimes, but most of the time it's mechanical. We are only just, doing it for sure. But our mind is still based on those things that we want to, find solution to. And as soon as we find somebody claiming that they can give solution to them, we may run there. So in essence, what I'm saying is that while we're trying to learn scriptures and make academic or scholarly presentations, we should not forget also the point that we have to have our eyes really keen on how, in what way this is helping us or helping people to appreciate the value of spiritual knowledge. And I hope you get what I'm saying. Spiritual knowledge has to be a panacea to material problems. That's my point.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you very much. It's a very wonderful contribution. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, the essence of knowledge is to be able to solve the problems of life. You are right. And that is either materially or spiritually. Materially, the scientists, they acquire knowledge and make so many researches. And that is why we have Zoom today, we have phones, we have so many things. So similarly, also the materialistic people also, when they approach the spiritual people, they want how they can put solution to all their material problems. So there's no need for us acquiring spiritual knowledge if we cannot reach out to people and solve their problems. Is it not, Prabhu? That's what you mean?
Yeah, in fact, I'm not saying there's no need, but I'm just saying that we have to be careful of not just being scholarly, academical, without looking deep into what is this knowledge transforming into, and in what way is it benefiting people, directly. That is the thing. We have to be more and more conscious of that. We don't need people to tell us, because a lot of people come and judge us based on what we're telling them, and they turn away, But we seem not to be making the connection to see how this knowledge is relevant or can be relevant, in the lives of people. So that is why I'm saying that if we're pursuing spiritual knowledge in an academical way, and we're forgetting the practical aspect, Brahmanas in the past in India and up till now are known to be like Kaviraj. They have all kind of knowledge that they can use to help people. You understand? So I'm still thinking, this is my focus. I'm thinking every day, how can we become more relevant in presenting this Krishna consciousness to solve people's problem or to help them to become happy. That's my plan.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you. Understood, Prabhu. Any other comments or contribution?
Hare Krishna.
Jai Prabhu.
Yeah, once again, thank you for your class. I just wanted to ask for some further clarification on something you mentioned in I think Srimad Prabhu has mentioned some comments close to that regard. When you're talking about, we have to make people understand the philosophy. We shouldn't think that people cannot understand the philosophy, and it is very high. So looking at your own particular experience and then this environment, looking at your experience, your past experience, present experience in ISKCON, especially in our terrain in West Africa. So what would you think that it is lacking in the presentation of Krishna consciousness in our society?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhu. There's nothing lacking. It's just that we are not reaching out enough. There's nothing lacking because we have qualified devotees like you and many other devotees who are doing your own best to reach out to people. But somehow or the other, we're not reaching out enough to the part of the society in which need this knowledge more. Because in this material world, there's always living entity who is in need of this knowledge. Very, very, like somebody who is deprived of air. Is the only thing you want. There's always somebody in society who is like that to spiritual life. I got to that realization recently when I met Achyuta Krishna Prabhu. Achyuta Krishna Prabhu he has been in Abuja here for long. So there was one day, he now brought one devotee, one guy he just contacted. This guy became very serious, and I now invited them for my house for Kavikarnapura. Prabhu just met him and he was giving me all our books he was reading. He became very serious. He was always coming to him to get more new books. So then when I told Prabhu, let us organize some Kavikarnapura, and they came to my place and we were doing kirtan. And this devotee was chanting Hare Krishna Mahamanta. He was crying. He was crying. And at the end of the program, when I asked him why he was crying, so he was showing this, kind of feeling that this is what I've been looking for. I've been there in the material world, rotting, going here and there, seeking for, going here and there. But actually, this is what I've been looking for in all my life. And he was always appreciating Krishna consciousness. We want to hear. And recently, whatever program we encourage him to, participate in is eagerly, very enthusiastically participating in. And when you hear him speak, he looked like somebody who has been in this philosophy for many years. Just imagine, somebody who just been introduced recently. So there are many people like that outside there. That is my realization. And they just waiting for us to just reach out to them. So there's nothing lacking. It's just for us reaching out to people. It's just like somebody was telling me the story of how Ganashakshi Prabhu started his preaching. There were 3 of them who were invited for that radio program. In the beginning, he was the most junior among all of them. So they invited them first time. He went there. They spoke, the three with the other 3 others, devotees, senior devotees, they spoke. And the second time they invited them, the place is like a little bit far. And this other devotee, they are feeling that, it's too far. Like if you are doing that kind of preaching and nobody is supporting you with money, it's like, what are we? That place is too far, no? So he invited them, said they are invited us to come to this program. They say, you go. I said, the place is too far for them. So he left, he went. And from that program, before you know, another program, they started inviting him here and there. And he was speaking in a way that the people can understand what he's saying, like what we're saying, making it easy for people to understand what we're saying. And before you know, boom, it became something else. And now, the same preaching is what is giving him all what he's enjoying today, that many other devotees also, many at times, he support them. just by taking preaching very seriously. So that's what I'm trying to say in essence, is that there's nothing lacking in the way we present it, just that some of us are not reaching out enough to the people we are supposed to reach out to. It's either we don't know how to use the technology to reach out to the people, or we don't know how to go about them on how to reach out to people. Because now we're in technological world that there's so many avenues in which we can connect with people. And those avenues also, when you start having so many followers there, you will start making money from there. It's not going to be free, but it just has to be consistent for some time for you to build your followership. So like what I'm saying, so it's not that there's nothing lacking. The knowledge is there, the experience is there, the expertise is there. Many of our senior men, they are very expert, but somehow we are not reaching out to those people. And there's always people in the society who always like eager for this knowledge. There's always, it's not like in the early days they were eager and today they are not eager. No, there is always a section of human beings who are eager for this our knowledge. So it's just for us to strategize, like I was saying, we strategize and reach out to these people. And we'll be happy that we did, because when the benefit of preaching start coming, now you will say, Krishna, is too much now. we are seeing it around us every day. Because people let me use Salika as an example. Yesterday we were in Ethiopia. The other day we were in Kenya. Another day now you will be in America. Another day you will go to Europe. It's all the benefit of preaching. So it's like that. So well, it's not that there's nothing short in there's nothing short. It's just that we just need to reach out to the people we are supposed to reach out to, and we can get. There are men in numbers who are always eager for this knowledge.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Srimad. Srimad Vara Prabhu, please go ahead.
Yes, I just want to say that there's something lacking.
Okay, Prabhu, please go ahead.
Yeah, because there's something lacking. If you've just given the example of Ghana Shakshi Prabhu's preaching, and what I've observed that Ghana Shakshi Prabhu is always preaching in Twi. Is that true or not?
He's always preaching in local language that people understand. Yes, that is dynamism.
Exactly. So that is what is lacking, because we have seen somebody using that. Not just him, all the religions that have come to Africa have used the medium of communication that the people are used to. We are still using foreign language. So one of us who has broken away from that path, using the local language, we have seen the success he has made. So this is what is lacking. I think that we all should take a day from this. We should preach in our local language to the local people. And the means to do that is also to be able to give them the books that they can, read in their own language. So some effort is being made in that regard. And I'll be appealing to you, very soon, some of these books are going to be available in thousands. If you want to use them and preach in the local language also. So that is what I think is lacking. We cannot be using religious books which are in foreign language, prayers in foreign language, and we think that we're going to attract people. No. Only very few people will always attract, because people want to communicate in the language they understand, especially when it comes to talking to God. So I think this is what is lacking. And if we all take that as a way to improve our preaching, it will make an impact. And I'm appealing to you, Kavikarnapura Prabhu and Salika Prabhu, we will be having books in Yoruba very soon, Christ and Krishna coming out in 1,000 copies. So if you want them, you will get some copies to distribute.
Yes, Prabhu. Now they just open a temple in Oshogbo. That would be very wonderful for Oshogbo preaching. Because if we want to use this local language also, is in the local area where people don't really speak English much, will be more appreciated, like Oshogbo now. They just opened a temple in Oshogbo today, and many devotees are there for that ceremony.
Yes, it's true.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Srimad Varaya Prabhu, for your contribution. And thank you, Kavi. I also think that there are certain things lacking in our preaching Krishna consciousness. And that's one of the reasons in that question. Krishna consciousness is both individual and collective. And from my observation over the years, I've seen that there are several individual efforts in West Africa towards development of Krishna consciousness. But I see an institutional lacking, and it makes it very difficult to get our organization accepted locally. Because when we look at the tradition of religious spread across the globe, whether it is Christianity, whether it is Islam, whether it is even the Vedic teachings, and even Lord Krishna confirms this. Yet, as charity is researched, whatever a great man does, common men follow. And whatever exemplary art he laid down in peacefully in pursuit, general pursuit. And Krishna told Arjuna that this knowledge I've spoken even 20 million years, I'm speaking it again. And his descendant through the three kings. We know the story of King Ashoka and how the Buddhism spread. We've seen several religions, even our Vaishnava culture in India, how it spread. And when we look at Puri, Prataparudra, the story, and interestingly, even our modern day Krishna consciousness became an accepted religion in the West when the certain level of class of people in the society accepted us. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that organization is an evil, unavoidable, how do you use that word? Necessity in Kali Yuga. So I think that institutionally we're not getting across to those who matters. There was something that happened earlier today, and it kept me thinking. So when you were speaking, I was just looking at it. There is some of the platform I'm working on with, and there is an issue that requires the Home Minister of India to sign certain documents. And as an institution, I was reached out to. But then when I looked at our institution, because the idea was that, okay, ISKCON is a Vedic Indian background organization, so maybe there could be some help. And I did I intentionally made some few calls, but we didn't have any institutional structure to relate with even those that relate to the tradition that we came from. So when that was not happening, the only thing I could do was just use my personal connections, which of course, yes, they're as a result of preaching, but because institutionally, locally, we have not been accepted to that level of being recognized as a stakeholder in the decision-making of religious activities in the country. We don't get directly accepted. So I had to use a minister of home affairs of another country to get across to India. So I see this as a lacking, and it gives me concern that we have not done so much. Individually, we're trying our best. You're trying, I'm trying. Everybody here is trying their individual best. But we have not been able to have that institutional acceptance, and which is a challenge. And I think it's a big challenge for the Yatra locally, especially in West Africa, for us to be able to have a stake in the decision making of things. So that's what I'm looking at as a lacking. I don't know whether you have a response to that.
No, Papa, you have said everything. Who am I? you have done the analytical, how do they call it, analysis. You have done the analysis of all what is lacking. So I think you are right, and that is it. Just like you are saying. So whatever is lacking, we have seen it, and now is to discuss the way forward. So,
thank you.
And let Krishna give us the intelligence on how to strategically discuss this way forward so that we can benefit this wonderful movement who has delivered all of us from whatever situation of life we were before to give us this platform. So whatever we need to do, we can do it so that we can be able to reach out to many millions of living entities who are dying for sake of this knowledge, this opportunity that we have been given by our own guru. So whatever we can do strategically, collectively, to do that, let us do it. So in this respect, I would like to stop here so that I can go and do other things. So I will stop the live now, and I will go also. If there's a more other discussion, the body can continue. Maybe whatever you have said has brought some more discussion with other devotees, but I will stop here. So we can say whatever we need to say so that we can end it, then I will stop the live.
Okay, thank you very much, Kavikarnapura Prabhu. Today you are the speaker and you are the host. So you have decided to start and end the class at your time. Well, it's okay, it's allowed. The dear devotees, our speaker today is Graceman Kavikarnapura Prabhu. We thank him for his expression. He desires to leave now to go do some other engagement or other service. So in our usual tradition, we will request all of the devotees to kindly unmute. Let us loudly chant a powerful Hare Krishna mantra to appreciate his time. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinde ki jai. Gora Piminande.
Hare
Assemble devotees, Hare Krishna.